Hi, this is Hombre de Mundo, your one and only man of world.
And this is Humulos.
We're here today to talk about the new trailer for Skyward Sword, of course. And we've all been looking forward to it ever since E3 last year. And now it's finally here, so I think we should just skip the foreplay and dive right into it.
Yes. So, we start off the video here, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the logo comes at us. Except it's a little different from what we saw last time.
Yeah, if you remember the last time the logo, the royal family emblem there in the background, it was all gold and shiny, and now it really looks like it looks old. It looks like it's made of stone, and it has been left to nature for quite some time. And I was surprised when I saw this because logos don't usually change with Zelda. I never really seen a logo change in Zelda before. And I was thinking this probably, it must have something to do with the story or the premise of the game. We know for a fact that Hyrule has been taken over by darkness in Skyward Sword. And I'm thinking this maybe could be a hint towards that the glory of Hyrule has been gone for quite some time.
Right, and at E3 we were told that Hyrule was overtaken by darkness, but we were never given a timeline on that. We were never told exactly how long it's been, so it could have been quite some time. And a few members of on the forums have also mentioned that maybe this is a reference to the first Zelda game, where we also have some vines running around the logo and through it. And so they're saying, well, on the 25th anniversary, maybe that's what this logo is for. So maybe it has to do with story, maybe it has to do with nostalgia. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do some shout-outs during this video. Actually, it was Smallville Boy on Zelda Universe that pointed this out to me, that it's probably just a shout-out to the original Zelda logo, especially also considering that the sword appears under the text Zelda. So let's leave that behind. It's always good with speculation, and it's an interesting topic. We'll move on now. And right off the bat, we see Link. He draws his sword. And we see that...
But wait a minute. What's that?
Exactly.
That's not his sword.
That's not his sword. Where's the Master Sword? Where's the Skyward Sword?
Yeah.
No, this is a very different sword. However, we speculate that this might actually be the initial stage of the Skyward Sword. Because remember, Miyamoto and Anuma, the only thing that they've told us is that eventually the Skyward Sword becomes the Master Sword. And this might actually be what the Skyward Sword first looks like. And that during the game you have to upgrade it so that it finally becomes the Master Sword. That sounds most likely to me personally.
It does, and we know for a fact that this is definitely the Skyward Sword, because a few seconds later in the trailer we also see on the little Wiimote there on the right side of the screen, we see the face of the Skyward Sword, the woman that represents the Skyward Sword.
Exactly. So this has
as
to
if
be
to call her up.
Exactly. So this really has to be the Skyward Sword. We move on here. We have some fancy door opening. And
they're always nice.
Yeah, they're always nice. And as we can see here, there's a lot of... Link is fighting enemies, and it all has to do with slicing and dicing different directions. If you look below Link's hearts, there is a meter with a shield symbol.
Yeah, and it's hard to say what this is at this time, because we haven't really seen in the trailer it being used, I guess I would say. Some people have speculated that it could be the magic meter, but it's unlikely since the shield is also there. Some people said it might be a defense meter for how long you can use your shield, while others have said that later on they don't see it go down when the shield's being used. So it's hard to say for sure exactly what purpose it serves.
Yeah, I'm still really hoping for a shield meter, because one of my main complaints with 3D Zelda is that you can just hold the shield button and you're pretty much invincible.
Oh yeah,
and it's just too easy. So hopefully this will be a shield meter, and you can only use your shield for so long before you need to put it down.
And that would go along with the rest of the game pretty well, because we've seen a few other meters pop up. We've seen one for climbing vines, one for running, to limit things like that, to add a little bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. There in the first demo of E3, there was a stamina meter that Link depletes when he runs and climbs and whatnot. But that is only a temporary meter. It only appears when he actually does those things. Otherwise, it's invisible. Kind of like Mario's health meter in Mario 64. That this will bring about a lot of new challenges to Skyward Sword and to the Zelda series. I'm this is one of the aspects that makes me really hopeful for this game. Because they're actually going about bringing new elements into the game. They are enhancing the gameplay significantly. You know, just from what it looks like. I could be wrong, and then if I'm wrong, I'll be disappointed because I think this is a great idea.
It is a good idea.
I hope it's as good as I want it to be.
We all do.
Next up, and this is a part that a lot of people seem to like, at least on CU. There's this big guy coming up with a spear and a poorly made shield.
Very poorly.
It even like Link could just slash it and rips his shield apart. I like this enemy though. It kind of looks like a moblin, but something that, you know, it's not really a soldier. He's just defending his little snow cave home.
Right.
That's the impression I get from this guy.
But we also see in the same scene, you know, I got this big guy, but over on the very right, much smaller than him, we're noticing one of the items, and this one is a harp, as we can definitely tell. Yeah,
if you see the up button on the directional pad on the Wiimote displays a harp, and you might think, oh, okay, that's cool, a harp. Nothing special about that, but actually, if you look at the official artwork for Ocarina of Time, you can see that Sheik's harp looks, from what I can tell, exactly like this one.
Yeah, or at least very close. You know, it's got the same coloring, same overall basic shape, and it makes you wonder, will the Sheikah play a part in this game, and will this harp be a harp of the Sheikah? Yeah,
maybe this is the exact same harp, or maybe it's something, maybe we'll learn something about the backstory of the Sheikah, that this is an instrument that they use in rituals or something. So we look forward to that, and we're going to see a lot more little connections like this. It seems like with this game, taking place first in the timeline, it seems to connect to a lot of things we've seen in previous games.
Oh, yeah.
So this is another reason to get very excited for this game, if you're into theorizing and the mythology of Zelda. So moving on, just right after this, we have Link chopping up bamboo like a madman. This looks fun too. It's obviously a minigame, because you got the counting meter, and I guess you're supposed to slice as many slices as possible before the tree falls over or something like that. It looks fun to me. I hope you can do this at any time. Cause I just want
totally.
I just want to slash like an enemy so he falls onto his back and then just cut that motherfucker. It's foul language of me. I apologize. Okay. Yes. Moving on here. We got Tightrope. This game just keeps throwing stuff at us. I love it. We have Link is walking tightrope with an enemy that looks like a Boblin from Twilight Princess, and we actually see that using the Wii remote, you balance on this rope, and you can, if you upset the rope enough, the enemy actually falls down.
So in the next frames, we actually have a new enemy here. We see this thing rolling around with what appear to be like sparks coming off of it or something. And at first, it's really hard to tell exactly what this thing is. But then, if we slow down the video a bit and if we pause it a frame, at first we see it's obviously some kind of big spiral shell creature. And then Hombre also noticed that there's another one of these in the background.
Yeah, and from this screenshot, it's pretty clear that this is a giant electric hermit crab. And what's also interesting to note is that, of course, where do you find hermit crabs, Humulos?
You find them at the beach.
Yes, you find them at the beach. So we're probably going to have a beach area, and I'm hoping also a large portion of sea, because that would be pretty cool. So continuing on, we have some enemies. We have a small frog that sounds like a monkey, and then this is interesting to note that we have this twist the block to fit in the hole kind of puzzle to open a door. Simply, people have been saying that this is a bit gimmicky. I can agree with that, but I'm okay with it. I mean, it puts the Wii Remote to pretty good use, and
yeah, it does.
I mean, as long as it's not overused, yeah, I'm okay with it.
Right, and then the third Metroid Prime game also had a similar thing where every now and then you'd come to a door, you'd have to use your nunchuck to twist the lock into the right place.
Yeah,
so it's a similar thing like that. In Metroid Prime, it didn't feel out of place at all. It felt very natural, and I assume it's going to feel pretty natural in this too.
Yeah, I hope so as well. So, all right, we open the door in here. Oh, this is one of my favorite parts of the trailer, because Well, I like the undead first off, and here we have a Stalfos, who for some reason has a ponytail, and
yeah.
So first off, that's kind of weird. Second, if you look at his swords, I don't know. Personally, I think they look like Keyblades from Kingdom Hearts.
So this is probably the skeleton of Roxas, which is now included in the Zelda timeline, all the events of Kingdom Hearts. So, yes.
Yeah, and we see Link. He's chopping off the arms of this Stalfos. But he ain't done yet, because as we see later in the game, he actually has 4 arms, and all of them carry weapons, and it's awesome. And I totally approve of this.
Okay, now, right after that scene, though, we're met with one of the most interesting scenes of this entire trailer, and it lasts for like
Definitely
2 seconds. It's we see a person of some kind sitting on top of this thing, this gold thing. That we'll get to that later on.
Yep.
But he's just sitting there, and it zooms in on his face, and we obviously have a new character here, someone we haven't seen before, and he looks incredibly emo. A lot of people have taken to calling him Debbie.
Yes, we call him Debbie. Mandrag on Zelda Universe started calling him Debbie, and everyone just caught on to it. So, World Debbie World.
Yes, Debbie, who's also covered in diamonds, which also we'll see more of that in a little bit here in the trailer too.
But we might as well touch upon that now. You see the pattern on his. I don't know what to call it, a cloak or whatever it is that he's wearing, poncho.
Poncho.
The pattern is very similar to the gilded sword from Majora's Mask. Okay, now we might ask, why is this relevant? If you look at the character, he's very pale, and he has a pattern that resembles a sword. Another character in this game that is also pale and has patterns that resemble a sword is the Master Sword girl. So, is it possible that this is the living form of the gilded sword? Like, now look, if someone came to me and say, hey, this is my theory, that this character is the gilded sword from Majora's Mask, I would say, wait, that's kind of off, because the gilded sword is an upgrade of the Kokiri sword. But then again, you already have this thing with swords coming alive, so I can't rule it out.
Yeah, and it's not like, Nintendo has retconned anything ever before. That's never happened.
Right, exactly. So it just might be someone also speculated that this might, if that's true, that this character is the same race as the Four-Sword girl, that Debbie actually is the sword of the main villain of this game. I thought that was an interesting theory. That might very well come true.
Yeah, there's a good chance of it. I mean, if one of the large focus points of the game is having one person that's a sword, who's to say there can't be another one? It fit into the game very easily and very well to where that's definitely possible.
Yeah, exactly. And if that's the case, I just hope and pray that the villain won't be revealed like in the last second, like it was in Four Swords Adventures, Twilight Princess, Spirit Tracks. I'm sick of that now. I want a villain who evolves through the game and just causes you pain, and you want to learn how to hate your villain. If this is the main villain, he looks weird to me. He looks like the offspring of Vati and Dementio from Super Paper Mario.
Very much so.
That being said,
in fact, a lot of people when they first saw him, they're like, "Oh, look, it's Vati," and I thought that at first. It's like that could be Vati, but
yeah, no, it's
it
not,
doesn't look exactly like him,
no,
and we know
I doubt
Vati's
it's
probably not
Vati
around yet.
I doubt it's Vati.
Yeah,
but
I don't think so either. Yeah. Now, one quick thing that is interesting though, the director for this game, he's the same director for Minish Cap, is he not?
Right. Yes, he is. I think it's the head director for Skyward Sword. Was the same head director for the Minish Cap. So we might very well see a lot of connections between the two games. Maybe not like they're timeline adjacent, because I doubt they are, given the latest quotes from Anuma, but there still might be a lot of influences from the Minish Cap.
And we can see that right here, because Vati's Picori or human form wasn't revealed until Minish Cap, and so we can see a lot of those same design elements went into this character as well. I'm definitely not saying he is Vati, but it's a very similar way of design, I would say.
Yeah. So that's very interesting, and we're all, of course, wondering who this character, who Debbie really is. But okay, so what is he doing? He's just sitting there. But what is it?
Looking at us,
he's just
like,
meh. Now, if we keep the trailer on, we'll see that he's actually sitting on top of this enormous statue that we call Mecha Shiva. Again, Mandrake,
yes.
I think, said this first.
Yeah, Mandrake got the title from the Venture Brothers cartoon, in which Mecha Shiva makes an appearance. So
yes, and of course Shiva is an Indian deity of like destruction and stuff like that. And of course you can see the Indian influences in the statue. It has 6 arms and a very Eastern look to its face.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of more Eastern culture in this whole trailer as well. Like the key used to unlock the door has like a dragon on it, like you would see in a lot of Chinese architecture. And there's just a few examples of that throughout there that it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, you have the bamboo
for the most part,
too.
Zelda's been largely European based, but now it seems to be going Eastern.
Yeah, I'm getting my hopes up a lot because I'm seeing a lot of positive things for this trailer. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of good-looking things in here, and I'm just hoping that as we're looking at them, that they're going to turn out the way that we're seeing them, and not just be overly simplified in the end. Which I don't think they will. I think there's a lot of room for them to do it right this time rather than mess it up. I mean, in previous times we saw Twilight Princess, a lot of good concepts that happened there that just weren't implemented very well because they're trying to do they're trying to perfect something that they'd already done, that they've already tried. But this looks like they're going for a whole new thing, a whole new direction in a lot of things, and if they keep going in just that direction, it looks like it's going to work really well.
Yeah, and hopefully this is just the beginning. I hope they have a lot of other fresh concepts and ideas that we'll see later on when the game is actually released. So hopefully this is just the beginning.
Oh yeah.
So here's the final part of the trailer is that Debbie teleports away with a snap of his fingers.
Yes.
And why is this important? Well, of course he is a magical person, a magical entity, as most as most Zelda enemies actually are. Mm-hmm. The interesting thing about this, and here comes more speculation, is that he leaves behind these squares. And if you look at Twilight, yes, and if you look at Twilight Princess, when Sant teleports, not all the time, but sometimes when Sant teleports, he also leaves behind these black squares. So some people are thinking, maybe this guy is the ancestor of the Twilight. Maybe this guy has something to do with the interlopers that we heard about in the Twilight Princess backstory. I would based on this teleportation thing alone. I'm not really saying it's convincing enough, but I can't rule it out either.
It should also be noted that this scene with him teleporting it away does make it seem like this character is indeed a villain. It doesn't outright say it in the trailer anywhere, but this makes it seem that way, because this apparently takes place right before Mecha Shiva starts attacking Link. And while
totally.
And while Mecha Shiva
I don't see it being any other way. I mean, you enter a room, he just kind of sits there, he looks at you, and it's like, oh, this will be fun, ha ha ha. He teleports away, the statue comes alive, and that's the boss battle.
Yep.
But I wonder, the question is, of course, is this going to be the main villain? Is it going to be a henchman to the main villain, like it's going to be the main villain sword, like we speculated earlier? Or perhaps, hopefully not, they might go for this is the villain, but there's really someone behind the scenes controlling him, who will just appear in the end.
We've seen that way too many times so far.
Yeah, and we complained about that already. I won't complain about it anymore. But it is an interesting, I would say, for Zelda, this is an original enemy.
I would definitely say so. He doesn't look like anything else, other than Vaddie that we've seen before. And I would say that's a large part because of this director. He's not a director who does a lot of Zelda games, and he's bringing fresh stuff to the table.
Yeah, which is exactly what we need. One thing I wanted to mention, I forgot to mention also about the villain, what could happen. If you remember Staven, or Beard, as he was also called, in Spirit Tracks, he was first a villain, but then he actually turned good. So if this is like another person from this Master Sword Girl's race, that might be the case, that maybe they know each other and he's evil at first, but then he turns good. I wouldn't rule that out either. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, I don't know, because he's very human. This character is very human-like, and he doesn't seem, usually in Zelda games, when you see a villain, oh, that's a villain, because they're like, I'm the villain of this game. But this character seems a bit more discreet, a bit more sophisticated. Kind of like Midna in Twilight Princess, kind of getting the same vibe. So, I don't know, maybe this is a character that, you know, messes around with you a lot in the beginning, but then turns around to help you.
It could be. It could be, but that's pretty much it for what the trailer has to offer us.
Yeah. So this is exciting times indeed. Make sure to stay tuned on ZeldaUniverse.net for more Zelda information. This is Hombre de Mundo, your one and only man of world.
And this is Humulos.
Over and out.
Goodbye.